1-5, expressions involving absolute values. So when you see the chapter portion of the WSQ, you write 1-5. So we are going to be evaluating expressions that involve absolute values, and our standard is down here. It's ASSE.2. So absolute value. First of all, we need to know what an absolute value is and what it looks like. So the definition is the distance a value is away from 0 on a number line. So if you take a look at this, you see, first of all, this is an absolute value sign right here, these double lines. So any number or thing in between those lines, it's saying the absolute value of that. So for instance, this yellow one is the absolute value of x. So if I say the absolute value of 5, if I go over here to the number line, how far away is that from 0? Well, hey, that's 5 away from 0. Now, if I look at this absolute value of -5 here, if I go to -5 on the number line, how far away is that from 0? Now we're talking about a distance, so distances will never be negative. So that is also 5. So what to remember here is your absolute value is always going to be positive. Always going to be positive. So if it's negative, you make it positive. If it's positive, it stays positive. So let's try. Let n equal 4, m equal -6, and p equal 2. So this says the absolute value of m. So the first thing I'm going to do is just substitute the m out and put the -6 in. So the absolute value of -6, the distance from -6 to 0 on a number line is 6. So that becomes positive. Here is the absolute negative of the absolute value of n. So the absolute value of n, if we take it out of the negative sign, is 4, but here's this negative on the outside that we have to bring down. So we bring that down, and our answer is actually -4. So absolute value of -p, so the absolute value, the distance away from 0 of -2 is 2. Here's one with multiple negative signs, so let's try this one. So I have a negative absolute value of a negative of -6. So a negative of a negative, or the opposite of a negative, is a positive. So I take the absolute value of 6 and I bring that negative sign down and I end with -6. So here we go into the nitty-gritty. We're going to evaluate this expression. So first things first, just like we did with regular expressions, we substituted for x and y. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to bring it down with the substitutions. So x is 6, y is -3, so took the y out, put the -3 in. Now absolute values are like a grouping symbol. So we need to do everything within there. If we do order of operations, it's multiplication first. So I am going to multiply this section and this section and bring it right down. So I have -2 times 6 is a -12, and -12 times 3 is a +36. And then 5 times the -3 is a -15. So now I'm going to add these together. And when I do that, I end up with 21. So -36 plus 15, -15 is 21. And the absolute value of 21, because that's what I do last, is 21. Let's try this one. So on the outside, this is kind of like the outside of parentheses right here. This is saying the 2 times the absolute value of this entire expression. So first things first, though, I'm going to substitute. And then I'm going to do what's in the grouping symbol, which remember the grouping symbol is going to be my absolute value signs. So I multiply, then bring everything else down. So 18 minus 20 is a -2. And then the absolute value of -2 is a +2. Now, that takes it out of the absolute value signs, but there's still multiplication. So now I do the multiplication. So 2 times 2 is 4. Bring everything else down. 4 minus 4 is 0. So here's the next one. It's golf. A certain company designs and ships boxes of golf balls. Each box must weigh 540 grams. Write 2 absolute value expressions that represent the number of grams a box weighing G grams is away from the desired weight. So first keyword is it's 2 absolute value expressions. So the cool thing about absolute value expressions, I can write my subtraction in either way. So 540 minus G or G minus 540. All in absolute value signs. That's going to give you the exact same answer. So what if I said G was 545? So if I plug that in, let's just prove it. And 540 minus 545 is -5. Absolute value of -5 is 5. So that's the first one. Let's try this one. So 545 minus 540 is 5. Absolute value of 5 is 5. See how those both equal 5? So that is the distance away from your desired amount of grams. Kind of cool. So last thing we're going to check out, we're just going to do some review here, and we're going to simplify these, and we're going to use distributive property. So that means I have to multiply the term in front by every term in the parentheses. So -3 times 2x is -6x. And then a -3 times a -6 is a +18. So that means I need a plus sign in between them. I do not have any like terms here. So that's my answer, simplified. Let's try this last one. I have to multiply it by all 3 terms in here. So 4 times 8p is 32p. Plus 4 times 16q is 64q. And then 4 times a -7r. So 4 times -7 is a -28r. I look to double check real quick. No like terms. So that is my simplified answer. Okay, tonight, notes. Remember, that's 2 points. Have them on your desk when we're doing ALEKS. And WSQ, that's 2 points for a total of 4 points. And you can either use the Google form or the Flipgrid. Oops. Bye.